I'm so excited. I'm geeking out, okay? Low-key fangirling over here right now because we have Sarah Lampert with us, the creator of Ginny and Georgia. Like, are you kidding me?
The Young Entertainment Podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Young Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host, Daniella, and this is my co-host, Mordechai.
Hey.
And you guys, I am so excited. I'm geeking out, okay? Low-key fangirling over here right now because we have Sarah Lampert with us, the creator of Ginny and Georgia. Like, are you kidding me? Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah. We are so excited to chat with you.
Oh, thanks. I'm excited to be here.
So you mentioned it was 3 hours later because we're both sipping on coffee and we're like, what are we doing drinking coffee this late in the day? So are you in NYC then?
No, I'm nowhere near as hustle and bustle as NYC. I'm in Maine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's beautiful. Okay. I imagine that's like the perfect setting for doing some good writing then because I hear it's so stunning over there.
It's honestly beautiful. I love writing in Maine, but I won't lie. Whenever I get here, I just want to have like a Stephen King moment and write about a murder that takes place in a haunted inn or something. But yes, I love writing in Maine.
Oh my gosh, that sounds absolutely magical. Okay, so we're just going to jump right in here. So have you heard of the term 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we do a little fun segment on our show with all of our guests, the 6 degrees of Zac Efron. So Mordecai over here, he does his little FBI work on the other end, and he figures out, okay, social links, 6 social links or less for how you're tied to Zac Efron. So we figured it out, but do you want to take a stab about how you're maybe just 6 degrees or less away from Zac Efron?
Sure. Let me think. I mean, I worked as an assistant at a talent management company for quite a while when I first moved to LA. So maybe it's through, and then I worked at a PR firm. So maybe it's through that. I don't know. No,
you're probably connected.
You tell me.
In so many ways. But Mordecai, what did
Yeah,
you
we're
figure
best
out?
friends. Me and Zac, we go way back. Don't worry about it.
No, so you've worked on Ginny and Georgia with David Monahan.
Yes.
You guys wrote together, and David wrote for Liv and Maddie
Yes.
with John D. Beck, and John D. Beck wrote for Shake It Up with Zendaya, who worked with Zac Efron in Greatest Showman.
Wow. Cool.
There
so
you go.
cute.
You're like besties.
How am I connected to the other Efron? Because I love traders.
Oh.
Find that out for me. That would really be great.
We're all going to start figuring out how we're connected to all these people that we really love so much. I love that. Okay, so what teen soaps were your ride or dies growing up? We have to ask because we're big fans of the OC. I mean, I feel like there were so many iconic shows that aired, when we were a bit younger. So were there any shows that were just your ride or die growing up? And did any of them inspire you to become a writer, a creator?
Yeah. Well, first off, I love the OC too. Deb Fisher,
yeah,
showrunner for season 1 and season 2, wrote on the OC, and I would geek out all about that all the time. Yeah. So shows that I loved growing up were Skins. UK Skins was definitely one that I was I want to create TV that hits me, that hits others the way this show hits me. I love UK Skins. Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Veronica Mars were two, I don't know if they're soaps, but I just loved seeing a complicated, messy, dynamic female superhero who was, my age at the time and in high school, and I just loved that.
yeah.
It was so badass. That was fun. But they still cared about dances and things like that. So I loved that.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, tons of shows. I mean, Gilmore Girls for sure. I know we get compared to that a lot. I grew up loving Friends, Sex and the City, but honestly, I'm a reality TV girly. If it's on Bravo, I've seen it. I'm really into reality TV. Survivor, Naked. I was just binging Naked and Afraid last night with my little brother. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's so fun. Girls, same. Reality TV is like the best. Okay, so then this is off. I'm off script right now. I'm off book, but
Yeah.
so are there writers on these reality TV shows that are like writing the plot as it goes, or no, or is that something that's like taboo?
So I come up in reality TV. I was an assistant in reality TV development before I sold Ginny and Georgia. And honestly, yes and no. So it varies from show to show, but I think a lot less writing than people would think for certain shows. And
Okay.
then oftentimes it's just set up. So people think it's like writing, but I would say it's just planned and produced, where it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
get this group of women together in this setting, like what could happen, right? As opposed to like say this again, or I mean that happens too. It just depends on the show, really. Like it
Yeah.
varies across network and show. But I think
Yeah.
for a lot of shows, I think less than you'd think, to be honest.
Interesting. Okay, so how does one become a creator of a show? I feel like in this industry, like we know how you can become an actor or actress, a singer or a dancer, somebody in Broadway. How does one become a creator, a writer of a show?
Well, honestly, there's no one way to do it because
Okay.
I took a really non-traditional route. Like I said, I was an assistant at like a talent management company, and then I was an assistant at a reality TV company. So I took a circuitous route. It was hard because a lot of my friends who are now all show running their own shows, had a more, I would say, traditional path up, which is, you got a job at a talent agency or a management company as an assistant, or for a showrunner as an assistant, and you eventually want to become a writer's assistant or showrunner's assistant, and then you work your way up into the writer's room that way. A lot of my friends did that. I didn't know anyone when I moved to LA. It was really hard to find a job. So I kind of bounced around at different places, and it ended up working out really well for me because I found myself in development, and we did mostly unscripted, but some scripted as well. So I wrote Ginny and Georgia as a pilot, and I just gave it to my boss. And he believed in me, he believed in it. And so he sent it to another, a scripted producer, and they had just had lunch with someone over at Netflix. Gilmore Girls, A Year in the Life had just performed really well for Netflix. So they were looking to make a mother daughter show for cheap, which, hello.
Wow.
So it was like the right product meets the right time. And so my first ever pitch was at Netflix with Ginny and Georgia. And I left it, and I called, I had an agent through a writing contest. I had not won, but come like seventh place in or something. But I had and so I called my agent, and I was like, the pitch went really well. Like, I think they're gonna buy it. And I remember them being like, okay, like let's manage your expectations, little assistant. And like, but I just knew. I mean, I would say the thing that I had going for me coming up through this more non-traditional route, being an assistant in reality TV, is I had been on so many pitches. Like I had pitched MH1, like because I'd been my boss had always taken me with him. So I had pitched all of these non-scripted shows. So I knew how to pitch, and I knew how to tell a story, and it's not that different. So yeah, so I had that going, I guess. But no, it was a really, my mom calls it my 8-year overnight success story, because it was
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
the first time ever being in a writer's room or ever being on set was Virginia and Georgia.
Okay, Sarah, are you kidding me? This is absolutely wild. I feel like this is one of those almost like Cinderella stories. Am I wrong? This is amazing. I'm so like over the moon for you. That's pretty wild. That's incredible.
Yeah,
And this
cool.
Mordecai has like my favorite question next because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. What was the moment you felt like you made it as a writer?
The moment I felt I made it as a writer, well, I had pitched Netflix, and I you, I went from the pitch back to my job as an assistant. So I'm answering the phones from, it, so in Jeff Toller's office, like, connecting calls, like still going back to being an assistant. And it was 1 or 2 days later. It was really, really fast that it happened. But I was running low on funds. That, I mean, my boss paid me well and took good care of me. I'm not trying to, but I was bad with whatever. I was low on funds. So I get this call from Netflix, and they're like, and I'm like, Jeff Toller's office. And they're like, this is actually a call for Sarah. And I was like, oh, and as I'm on the phone hearing that they want to pick up my TV show based on just my pitch for 10 episodes, which it just doesn't happen like that. So they're
Oh.
like, yeah, we want you to find a showrunner because you don't know what you're doing. And then we want to pick up the show for 10 episodes was what it was. And as I'm on the phone with them, I get an email from Bank of America. I had like ordered lunch that day on my whatever. I had less than $25 in my debit account. And like as I'm on the phone with Netflix. So I think in that moment, just like the juxtaposition of that was wild.
Mm-hmm.
And then
That's so wild.
and then I have another one actually too. We were in the Netflix office. So then we did that. The deal closed. It took a few months for the deals to close. The deal closed in, I want to say December, if I'm remembering correctly. And like the day after the deal closed, I was back in the Netflix lobby, but pitching a reality TV show. Like I was there to man the PowerPoint for like my boss and the reality TV show producers. And my exec comes out of the elevator and sees me in the lobby and I think assumes I'm there for the show that just sold 10 episodes. And they're like, "Oh my God, Sarah, so exciting. Like, can you believe it? Your whole life's about to change." Like, I was like, "Yeah, like, absolutely. Like, 1 second, like, the whole party's here for Are You Game at noon?" And like, just so it was like a real, I was doing the show and my boss let me stay on as his assistant up until the writer's room kicked off. And it was just this weird overlap of it was just a interesting transition. It was crazy. Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh. Okay. I'm obsessed with your story. That is so cool. And I think it's so important because, okay, I can totally relate. I moved to LA when I was really young.
Yeah.
And I remember like trying to get to an audition and I would get a text message from Chase Bank saying you're negative $50, and it's like,
All the time.
how am I getting, yeah.
All the
And
time.
so I get it. And so that is so cool. Okay. So many questions, but okay, what is it like when you're in a writer's room? For example, one big question that comes to mind is for I used to write songs in Nashville. So when you're in a room in Nashville, right, everybody's throwing out their ideas like at the same time. Like one person will come to the table with the topic of the song, but then you're kind of all going at it at the same time. When you're writing for something like Ginny and Georgia and you're multiple seasons in now, are different writers in charge of different plot lines for characters or arcs or storylines, or is it everybody at the same time? How does that work?
Sure. You know what's so fun? Well, I was just in the writer's room right before this. We just ended and I
Okay.
here. But it's so funny how it's so mystified. Like the writer's room as a concept is such a mystifying thing. I feel like no one really understands it. And I would love to talk about it because it's like my favorite place in the world. It's like my happy place. Um, because truly what it is, when you're in college and you're in a class that just like truly interests you and everyone is invested in whatever the class is and they're all just like contributing and like building off ideas and like arguing with each other and like back and forth. Like that's what a writer's room is. Like it's it's the best job in the world because you get to just be with people who care about these characters so much. Everyone's coming to it with a different life experience and a different POV. And you spend all day, I mean, it's like playing house, kind of. It's like glorifying house. You spend all day just like playing around with these characters and like talking about your own personal stories and how, when I was in high school, this moment happened with this guy and this and it made me feel this way and oh, I love that this could happen to this character and so it's just like such a collaboration. And what I love about our writers room is it's the show itself is so open-ended. Like it's every genre. It's a weird show. It's every genre. Like it plays around. It's very playful. And it has a lot of heart. And I think that is reflective of what the writers room is because everyone is able to just kind of like go out of the box ideas. Like we're doing
Mm-hmm.
little spoilers, we're doing something in season 4 that we've never done before in terms of the storytelling. And like we just talked about that episode today in the room and we're all very excited about it. And I hope Netflix also,
Wow.
but we're very excited about it. So yeah, it's a collaboration, but the breakdown of, and if this is going on too much and I'm getting too nerdy about it, just tell me, but
no,
This
we
is
love
so
it.
fun.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
we love
So
it.
so every episode, so the season starts with me kind of saying what the tent poles are, like this, and this, and then I'll have a list of scenes I'll have already written going into the season. I don't know where they fall, but like for example, like Georgia discovering Ginny's self-harm. Like I'd been sitting on that since season 1. Like I knew certain things were gonna happen. So we have those tent poles. Like this thing is going to happen. And I have like a few things written, like a poem here or there, whatever. Right? Just a loose. And then we'll go into the writer's room at the beginning of the season and we'll blue sky. And everyone will just say, this is what I love about the show. This is what I think we didn't honor enough. This confused me. I didn't like this, like whatever. Right. And we'll talk about that from last season. And then we'll be like, okay, what are two characters you want to see together that you've never seen together on a scene before? Or like, what's something that happened to you that you would want to put in the show that would mean something for you to see represented on screen? Or like, it really open-ended questions that everyone can contribute to. And that's called, that's blue sky for the season. So I know I'm getting nerdy about it. And then we break it down by episode, and then you blue sky for the episode, and then you do, okay, from this blue sky, what's our theme? What are the characters' arcs? What's our, like, in no particular order? Then you put it in order, then you weave the arcs, and then you send the writer off to outline, and that's how you do it.
So cool.
Sorry,
I
I'm
love
such
that.
a nerd about the writer's room. I love the writer's room.
No, it sounds amazing.
It's incredible. I feel like I have never been more interested in learning how something works in my life. I mean, that is fascinating. That is like the coolest thing ever. Because I feel like this part of the industry isn't talked a whole lot about.
Yeah.
It's so cool to learn how our favorite shows come to life. I mean, it's absolutely epic. And Mordechai, I'll let you jump in. I got ahead of the questions.
Yeah. No, so and I was gonna say also that like it's probably really cool that it's like your baby coming to life, That's probably wild. So I was gonna ask, like, what's one moment that you were like most excited to see, like from writing to to screen?
I have a lot, but in season 3, it's an easy answer for me, and it's Maxine's voiceover at the top of the episode of episode 9. Maxine's the character I like most based myself off of. Like she's not me, but like I gave her a lot of me. Um, and when Sarah Waistglass auditioned, I remember like every actor in the world auditioned for that role. And when Sarah Waistglass audition came in, I remember I was in bed, like watching all the auditions like a Sunday. And I like literally sat up in bed, like sat fully, she was buried. She was down there. And it was like, oh my God, that's her. Like that's Max. Like there she is. And it was, oh, I just love her. So I knew she would knock it out of the park, but so I wasn't worried about it being both humorous and heartfelt. But for me, what was so important about seeing it on screen is I really wanted to take like my inner thought process and put it on screen in a way that I had just not ever seen before. And I was so excited we were able to do that. Like that was very special to me, that scene. Yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, watching her go through that process, and and everything's inside her head, so she had to do the voiceover as well. So it was kind of like double the scene. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had to find the perfect song. Like that song was hard to find. We tried putting that with every song, like because it had to have the right energy, but not overwhelm or steal away from the pace of her voiceover. And so that song, I can't tell you how many songs we tried before we found that. That song originally actually was in episode 2 in the skate park scene when everyone thought Marcus and Abby were gonna like hook up, and I was like, no, chill, they're friends. Like, but that song was originally there, and the editor was like, what about, she suggested it for episode 10. I love the editors on this show are such unsung heroes. Like the editors are artists on the show. We have 4 editors in season 3. I'm obsessed with all of them. But she suggested that. And so I was like, Lauren, I'm so sorry. Like we're stealing this from your episode and putting it in 10. So you're going to have to find a different song for the skate park. But yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I mean, another scene.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I love that. And then there was another scene that we really love with Marcus at the end when he like breaks down in front of his mom. It was just everything. Is that how you envisioned it when you were writing? Did the actors bring something extra to it?
It is how I envisioned it. Absolutely. I mean, I think that Felix and Darnell, who was the director of that episode, worked really closely together. My tone meeting with Darnell. So how it works is I'll tone with the directors and I'll really tell them exactly how I want the scene to go and what I feel and what like the purpose is. Sometimes it's like I really want this or that. And then the director will bring their artistry to it, and then they'll work with the actor to make it happen. And then I'll be on set, like overseeing it, or like this isn't working or this beat's being missed. But like when we're on set, it's really between the director and the actor. So what I had said to Darnell in our tone meeting was, I want him to be feral. I want it to almost feel like he could punch his dad. Like I want so horrific that the entire family is changed, and there's a before this scene for the Baker family and an after this scene for the Baker family, and we need to hit that on every single character. Um, obviously Felix needs to lead it. And so they really like worked. They had a we don't have time for rehearsals on the show, I mean, or on any show in TV. You move so quickly, but they scheduled time for rehearsal for that show, or for that scene rather. And I mean, yeah, watching, especially being in the edit and like being able to pull all those like heartbreaking moments, and that Chris edited that scene so well. Um, yeah, it was exactly, I mean, it was perfect. Like I'm obsessed with that scene. I have no notes on that scene. That scene's phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, were there any storylines that had to evolve based on feedback or collaboration from the actors? Are the actors ever involved in that aspect?
Yes, I talk to the actors a lot, because they honestly, it's very helpful that they know their characters so well, because the show deals with so many characters that, like,
Yeah.
they're thinking more deeply about their individual character than I will ever be
Mhm.
able to, because I'm seeing things kind of like a more bird's eye. I mean, I know where I wanna go and, like, the micro moments, but they'll oftentimes bring something to the table because they know their character so well that I didn't think of. Sometimes we don't listen, like, sometimes it's like, "No, listen, this is why your character would do this, like, for the purpose of the scene and the show and the arc and whatever." But I would say more often than not, I really listen to the actors, and if they wanna change something, I'll change it or I'll be accommodating, but sometimes I
Wow.
sometimes I won't, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm like mind blown by everything you said. This is like so cool.
And I can
You
give
spoke. Oh, yeah.
I'll give an example too, like,
Yes.
an example of, changing something is, he'll be my example for both actually, because that's easier. But, Scott Porter, who plays Mayor Paul, who I thought just his performance was fantastic this season, and that one scene where he punches the wall, he's talked about this in interviews too, he really didn't wanna punch the wall. And it was like, I was like, "You have to, like, it's so important, and it's such a messy moment, and, like, here's why." And I know the director and him worked together on it too, and then when we filmed that scene, like, he got there, he completely understood by the end, and then he delivered, honestly, my one of my favorite performances of the season with that scene. I love that scene. Um, but, like, the whole crew knew that that was special, and it was that was a phenomenal moment. But then there are several times in, like, other scenes where he'll be like, like, "Paul would be better at his job than this," or, like, "I would do it this way," and I'm like, or like, "This is too angry. I'm cool, calm, and collected." And I'm like, "You know what, Scott? Like, you're absolutely right." And, like, I will absolutely change it based on those conversations. But that's every
Wow.
actor, like, if yeah. And some actors, I would say, do that more than others, just depending on their process. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we're getting into like more of the creative insight now. So like was there ever a version of the story where Georgia was found guilty?
Well, so the writer's room, I really put a lot of faith in the writer's room. I I have a very strong gut, and I really do, like, fully believe in it. Um, so there's that, but I will say I put so much faith in the writer's room. They change my mind all the time, like, all the time. So I knew we knew setting up season 2 that Georgia was gonna get out, and when I pitched the show originally, I pitched 4 seasons. So in that version, she got out. But I pitched things in that 4-season pitch that have since changed, that changed from that pitch to being on screen based on, bringing other people in, having a collaborative writer's room, all of it. Um, but for that, I did do an exercise where I wrote a scene where she was guilty and in jail and Ginny went and visited her just to play with it. But ultimately I was like, this stinks. Like this isn't. We knew Gil had to take the fall. That's why we didn't kill him in season 2.
Whoa. Okay, mind blown over here. So Max is one of our absolute faves, and we love that you put so much of yourself into Max. We were so sad, when she wasn't getting the love from Mang that she did before. So we were wondering, was there originally a moment or a scene that showed more of why Mang split up? Or why did Mang split up? That was our personal. We're like, we have to know.
So we wanted it to be really reflective of high school. And I think like
Yes.
in high school, like you just hurt each other's feelings unintentionally a lot of
Yeah.
the time. So Max is very valid in feeling left out. And I think we've all been Max, which is why we're having such a strong emotional response to it. Cause it's like there's nothing worse. I read somewhere, I don't know where, but like being left out is actually like the cruelest form of human torture you can do. To be fair, this might have been like a tweet. So God knows if that's scientific, but I read it somewhere. So someone said it. But it hurts to be left out. I mean, it just hurts. We're all just blobs of glue or goo at the end of the day. So for Max, I understand why she's so upset, and I understand why the audience is so upset watching her. But for the girls, leaving her out, I think Max is suffering from the repercussions of her actions in season 2 because they forgave her for overreacting, but I don't fully blame Ginny for picking Bracia to be the one to share her self-harm with. I think she considers Bracia a little bit of a calmer, safer space for her than she does Maxine. I don't think that means she doesn't love Maxine, but I think it makes sense to me. You just get different things from different friendships. And I think with Bracia, and to be fair, she didn't invite Bracia over to the car. Bracia was walking in to the school and saw her and came over to the car herself and then spent lunch with Ginny. And that hurt Max's feelings, right? When Ginny runs into Abby at dress shopping, they didn't plan to go together, but they ran into each other and then they send the photo in the group text and that hurts Max's feelings. So there's like little instances that are just kind of coincidence that keep happening, but Max is like they're compounding, right? And Max is riding for Ginny so hard. She feels so deeply. She definitely is struggling with, high functioning depression. And so she has rejection sensitivity. All of this is true. But I don't think the girls were trying to leave Ginny out. Nora invited Ginny over to babysitting because of her brother. And then while they were there, they were talking about Abby. So then they just went to Abby's house and they did realize, like, oh, Max is going to be sad. We missed this. And they didn't invite her, and that's valid. And then they started a group text without her to share the photos. Like, if I was Max, I'd be devastated, but I also
Yeah.
understand how it all happened, if that
Yes.
makes sense. Yeah. And I think Abby and
100%.
Max have unresolved stuff from season 2 also.
That was such a beautiful depiction of how, you're right, friendships are in high school, and even honestly as an adult too. I mean,
Yeah.
you explained it beautifully. Are there any behind the scenes stories, whether it was something when you were on set or in the writer's room, that the fans of Ginny and Georgia would just love to know?
Um, Behind the scenes stories that they would love to know. I mean, honestly, probably so many. A behind the scenes story that might be fun is we really knew. I'll do a season 3 one. There's another thing I'm thinking, the stick in a glass bottle on the wall from season 1, but okay, in season 3 there was a science museum date between Ginny and Wolf, right? And we couldn't do it because we just didn't have enough days. We have a tight schedule. Like we the fact that our show is as beautiful and big as it is a little of a magical miracle. Like we have a schedule, and so we really couldn't fit the science museum into that schedule. It wasn't going to work. Like what we always do when we can't do that is they go to Blue Farm because set. That's a standing set. So it's easy for us to film there. And we were just so heartbroken. We're like, no, they have to go to the Science Museum. Like, we have to go to the Science Museum. And I remember I like called Netflix and like begged them for an extra day so we could go to the Science Museum. And they gave it to us. They were like, okay, it's important that we show progression with Ginny and Wolf, especially with what's happening in the next episode, with them sleeping together. We need to earn it. She can't sleep with them after Blue Farm. Okay, they have to go to the Science Museum. We have to get a cute date here. To be special, it has to be a level up. We can't just go to Blue Farm. So we're going to the Science Museum. Netflix approved it. It's like this amazing gift. We have a full day just to film at the Science Museum. And we were filming there on like Friday. And on, I want to say like Tuesday, we all get an email from like the Toronto Times, like nothing to do with the show even, that the Science Museum has closed down. Like, we had our permits, we had permission, we had based the schedule around it, and like the Science Museum is just gone. Like, Toronto just like closed it. And we were,
Oh my god.
That's
oh my
crazy.
god, like, and we had been dealing season 3, we almost felt like it was cursed a little. Like, we always, like, people were sick and we had weather, like a lot of weird things went wrong. Yeah. So that felt crazy, that the Science Museum was just gone. And we're like, huh, all right, well, I guess Blue Farm's gonna happen now. So like we literally, I just went into my office and started Googling. So we found this place in downtown Toronto, which is where we ended up going. And thankfully, Aiden, who's our production designer, is like the most talented, gifted man in the world. And our set deck, they were able to make it really look like a science center. But in actuality, it's that one hallway that you see them walk down that we put like beakers on and like put little kids there. So it looked science museum.
Wow.
And then it was more
I
about
love that.
arts installation. So there's that wall that changes color and has all those like lights and stuff. And that was real. That was there. But then we added those like mirrors, like just to like make something else in that room. And then that hallway they walk down with like the immersive whales, that's real. But then that red room, we put all the bugs in there. Like that wasn't, there were no bugs.
Wow.
So
That's
it was like
awesome.
it was like an art cool thing, and then we like made it into a science museum because the freaking science museum closed. So
That's so creative. I love that.
wow.
I
Yeah.
mean,
What
it's
are the
terrible that
chances?
happened, but like, wow, you guys put it together. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That
That
is
was fun.
amazing. What is one big thing that fans can really look forward to in season 4 of Ginny and Georgia?
Oh wow. Honestly, I just think that what the fans really love about the show is just the characters, and like the actors bring so much to those characters. I mean, they really feel like real people. So I think it's just more of the characters they love. Like that's really it. It's they just want to see the characters they love being true to the characters, and that's what you get in season 4.
Oh, we're so excited.
So
Um,
excited.
and Sarah, any little piece of advice to aspiring creators, aspiring writers? A little, because I mean, you've really made it happen for yourself, girl. And so, what's one piece of advice you could pass on?
Everyone is going to come up with 100 reasons why you're not qualified enough, you're not ready, you're not this, you're not that. You just have to really be firm that you believe in yourself. You know that you can do it. You know you have a story to tell, because everyone really does have a story to tell. Um, so you have to know that you can do it, and you can't wait for permission from others that you can do it, because that might never come.
Oof,
Wow,
that's
that's
good.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Can you tell our audience where they can find you online and follow along with your journey, all your social handles?
Sure. Well, it's a funny story. I run the BTS account, which happened by mistake. So they can
Oh, that's
follow
you.
Ginny and Georgia BTS.
Oh, thank you. You shared our stuff. That's, oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah, that's me. It's because yeah, I my friend worked at Netflix, and I asked her what I could do as the creator just to help us get a season 2. And she said, take a lot of behind the scenes content like that. Your fans will really like it. So I was like, bet, let's go. And so I just like did. And then at the end of filming, I like had this big Dropbox, and I was like, okay, Netflix, like, do you want this? And they were like, no, we don't want this like grainy iPhone footage of like nothing. Like, no, we're
Oh
professional.
my
So
god.
I was like, oh, should I do something with it? I mean, they were nicer about it. They were like, you feel free. And I was like, okay. So they were really supportive. They still are really supportive about it. But it was like an accidental job I gave myself, to be honest. But yes, I run the BTS account. So follow G&G BTS. Tony named it that, G&G BTS. And because I think their stipulation was we couldn't put Ginny and Georgia in the title of it or something, and we had to label it a BTS account so that people knew what it was. So yeah, so G&G BTS, follow that, and then if they want, they can follow me, Slampy with 2 L's, but they'll just get a lot of mane and dog content on my page. Yeah.
Oh, we love mane and dog content. Okay,
Mhm.
amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, this was so incredibly interesting, and we're just so grateful for your time. So thank you so much for
Yeah,
sitting down
thank
with
you
us,
again.
and we appreciate you, and we know that the fans are absolutely going to love this and eat up every part of this episode. Thank you to everybody who is tuned in right now, listening and watching our podcast. We're so grateful that you're here. Make sure you give Sarah a follow. And of course, we are so grateful for the show, Ginny and Georgia. So thank you for giving us that, Sarah.
I love the
It means a
fans.
lot to
Anything
us.
for the fans. So
Yes. And thank you everybody for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. We are Young at Mag, and this has been the Young Entertainment Podcast.